Welcome back to Plays with Pay, your favorite new sports podcast, hosted by yours truly, Peyton Sutton. I'm here with Randall Clark, North Carolina basketball trainer, but not just any trainer, the basketball trainer. He's not only trained kids, but high school players, college players, overseas players, and pros. Not to even mention Seth Curry, Tiffany Mitchell, Sierra Burdick. The list just continues. But here we go. Here's Randall. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for coming in.
I appreciate you for having me. I think this is really cool, kind of a full circle moment for me because I remember you from when you were younger. So I always enjoy moments like this.
Yeah, for sure. For those that do not know, I did used to play basketball. I am retired now. But I did play through college as well. But not about me. Okay, back to the main guest here. So first question we got. You are obviously a trainer and a coach for those that do not know. What inspired you to get into the basketball, the whole thing in general?
Sometimes things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. You always got to trust God's plan. So when I was a junior in high school, I had a back injury in the weight room. And basically the doctors were like, you're either going to have surgery or you're going to have to stop playing like every day because I just couldn't take the pounding. I decided that I was just going to stop playing, and luckily I had a high school coach that knew how much I loved the game, and he came up with the great idea of, hey, why don't you help coach our freshman team? I'm from Ohio, and so we have freshman basketball. So I was like, okay. So ended up my junior and senior year helping coach freshmen there, but also my younger brother at the time did not have a basketball coach for our old AAU program.
Okay.
So I told my dad, I want to coach his team. And my dad kind of brushed me off originally. And a couple more weeks went by and they still didn't have a coach. And I'm like, no, for real, I want to coach him. And so he sat me down and was just like, if you do this, you have to be committed to it. It's not, I'm canceling practice because I want to go run out with my friends. And he just explained the importance of you got to be all in if you're going to do it.
Right.
So I told him, I was. And so at the time I was an assistant coach of a high school team. Wow. And I had my own team in the fourth grade, and I was 16 years old. And it was a cool experience. One of my, it was fun. Obviously I was coaching my little brother, but the part that really made it real was the following year I had high school coaches bringing their kids to come play for me. At 17 years old, I ended up having a team there was a really, really special group of boys, and they're in fifth grade, but these coaches who coached high school, and bringing them to me, and they're like, hey, I want you to coach my kid. It just meant a lot, and it's kind of how I fell in love with it. And, did that, and then went to Bowling Green, and there I was a student assistant coach for the women's basketball team, and we won a lot of games there. And it was a really good learning experience for me as well, just learning that, and that's kind of how I, at the college level, those days are 12 to 14-hour days where you're in the gym, doing all this stuff. So, right. And, I learned a lot during those 4 years of college, and kind of, after that I knew I didn't want to coach in college because it was just, I wanted to have a family, I wanted to have a life, and kind of fell into training when I moved to North Carolina.
Okay, understandable. So you still do coach AAU. So is that kind of something that you decided, well, this is meets in the middle?
Nah, every time I think I'm getting out,
you're right back in the fold.
Right back in. I had most of the kids are 2028s now. So sophomores, I had them when they were in second grade. So coached them in second grade, third grade. It was an unbelievable experience. Great group of kids, great group of parents, and they moved the program to Winston-Salem under CP3, and I was just I couldn't make that commitment because my daughter was just born at the time. So I'm like, all right, I'm out of it. Well, lo and behold, Blanca Thomas, who now plays at the University of North Carolina, comes to me and she's like, hey, I want you to coach my AAU team. And I was kind of like,
trying to get at it.
You don't train with me. Obviously it was a close family friend. And I was like, all right. So I signed up for that and had a great group of kids, and we played together for the fall, and, kind of put the team back together in the spring, and then it kind of just took off, and I was in it, and, they just, she decided she wanted to go play somewhere else. The kids decided they wanted to make a move when they were going into their final years of AAU. Understandable. Like, I get it. I thought I was done. And then another one of my parents was like, raps me in. And so I was like, all right. So I had a group of 5th grade girls, coached them 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. And one of the kids had a sister. And she was like, oh, well, I want to bring the kids to come work out with you. And the kids came to work out one day, and it was, they get after it. They play hard. I love my 2032 team. And so, like, with that, it kind of just like, all right, I'll coach them.
Right.
So now I'm coaching that group, and then I'm going to have a 2028 team in the fall or in the spring. So right now I'm going to coach two teams in the spring. And I at this point, I don't even tell people, like, I'm done. I'm just going until I feel like I'm ready to shut it down. Like, I'm just going to keep coaching because I truly enjoy it. I enjoy being with the kids. I enjoy helping players get better and watching them grow and develop. And, obviously with the high school kids, like, the goal is try to get them to school.
Right. So from what I've heard thus far, I'm assuming that you would prefer to train rather than coach.
It depends. I feel like I'm good at both.
Okay.
I feel like I can do both. I love training because I can train more kids, obviously.
Right.
Like I have, sometimes it's funny because like on a Sunday you can come in the gym and see me working with a 5-year-old.
Right.
And then right from working with a 5-year-old, you might see me working with, one of the best players in North Carolina. It's just how it happens. So I really enjoy the training aspect of it. And I know there's some people that have certain levels that they like to work with.
Right.
But for me, it's all of them. Like I feel like with the babies, it's, they're so young that they don't have bad habits, and to work with me, like you got to really want to be there. Like we're going to work hard, but you're going to want to be good at basketball. It's not playtime. Like you understand, like we're going to have fun, but we're going to get better too. And then, the middle schoolers, like, some of these kids, I get them when they were 10 years old and they couldn't dribble between their legs, couldn't dribble with their left hand. And now you watch them and they're shooting left-hand floaters and step backs and being aggressive, getting to the basket. So, at that level, you get to really watch them grow. And then obviously you continue into the high school kids and, those kids are kids that have been with me for a long time and become very special. And I think that's what makes our company the most unique is that if you look at the list of kids that we've had, like we're always adding new players. Right. But a lot of these kids have been with us since they were 8 years old, and now they're in high school. We're just now getting to a point where, one of our youngest kids, he started with me when he was 5, and he's getting ready to graduate high school. Like, you look at it, you got kids that started with you, and now, I got a kid in law school. So it's
really
fun.
Get to watch them develop.
Yeah, I had him the whole way through. Like it wasn't like we stopped. Like we've been together. So a lot of times when you have clients like that, they become family.
Speaking of your organization, Outwork Everyone, your values consist of convenience, care, quality, and results. How did you come up with those specific qualities?
I think just from actually just working in it. When the main one for me is care. And I think the funniest thing about this whole thing is like when I first started, like during the season, I would go watch my kids play. Right. And to me, it was just like, yo, I'm just showing up to go. And like, I didn't know probably until 2 or 3 years in how much it meant to the kids and how much it meant to the families that I would come watch their kids. And it was a second nature to me. Like I never thought of it as an added benefit or something else. I just, you're playing on a Friday night. I don't have anything else to do. Like I'll go watch them. And so I think that doing stuff like that, and then just, I might get on you. I might, you might get yelled at and not like it. But at the end of the day, like when that's over, when the workout's over, when the practice is over, when the game's over, it's over. So I'm right back to, being silly, goofy, and hanging out and, being friends with you.
For sure. As a player, retired player, I truly understand that perspective as well. Understanding and having somebody come support you, and they didn't have to. It's out of the kindness of their heart, and the fact that they did come shows how much that they do care about your development, your growth, and not even just watching you play, but just your well-being in general. So I can obviously say I appreciate that from your perspective as well, just doing that for other people. So that's very beneficial, so I appreciate that. So next question. Of course, you already mentioned how you're just gonna keep going, doing what you're doing, but is there an end goal for this and for you? Do you plan on just having basketball be like the gist of your, not necessarily life, because obviously family is very important, but is this kind of your main
Yeah, I mean,
focus?
there have been other things that I've tried to do, but at the end of the day, like basketball is kind of that's my passion,
Your passion, right?
and I would love to open up another facility. Like we've looked into opening up some other places. The issue there is always just quality control and
Yeah.
making sure that it's done the right way.
Understandable.
And so I'm patient in that process. Like if it happens, it happens. If not, I'm okay with it. We're just gonna try to keep building what we're doing here in Charlotte, and just trying to be the best at what we do every day.
You mentioned how you can be in the gym with like a 5-year-old, and the next day you're with like a pro player.
Not even the next day, like literally the next hour.
next hour.
That's how it can happen.
So like, you have to have two different tones, and you have to have a code switch, it feels like, because you can't necessarily talk to a 5-year-old the way you would a grown individual. So how do you kind of like code switch that?
See, that's not the issue. The issue is like when you get the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, like that's where you got that's the harder code switch than the pros, because
Really?
with the pros it's kind of self, this is what we're doing,
Right.
let's get it done.
Right.
We're gonna go do this, and they'll try to they try to get their wiggle room when it comes to like, all right, what conditioning do we have to do today? Yeah, when we gotta run, like, all right, let's try to navigate that. But outside of that, they don't really have too much to say.
Understandable.
But those middle school kids, they think they know it all. They wanna have an opinion. So that's where it becomes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a different tone. Like, obviously with the little kid, like your patience, you have to be a little bit more patient. And I respect people that say that they don't have the patience. I get it. Like, I'm never gonna, I have a staff of, 4 to 5 guys, and everybody has, different things that they're good at, and I know that. And so it's just like being on the court, just being a coach of a team. Like, you got to put people in a position to be successful.
Exactly.
So sometimes I know who can't work with this group of kids. I know who can't work with this specific kid, and I'm the same way. Like, I know there are specific kids that are like, we're like oil and water, and I'm not about to let you drive me crazy today, so I'm gonna put you over here with this coach or this coach, and we'll just call it a day. So that's kind of how that works.
I'm wondering, is there a specific group that's that group that you just can't do it sometimes?
Oh no, I do. I have a group of middle school girls, and they work out, and they work their tails off. They work so hard, and they've gotten way better.
Okay,
but we do have a running joke of like, when they walk in the gym, it's like, oh my gosh, I forgot y'all were coming tonight. Why didn't I schedule somebody else to work? Like, I give them, they have a hard time with me, but they work hard. They get after it. They allow me to coach them hard. They never, they don't cry. They don't whine to their mom and dads. Like, they just they get through it. So yeah, they get it done. But we have a lot of fun with that group. We have a lot of fun with, and I give them a hard time.
That's good.
But yeah.
All right. So, as we already stated, you work with both men, women. Doesn't matter. Very, very diverse.
Right.
And so you were actually named the Lady North Carolina Top 80 Trainer not too long ago. So in terms of that, your reputation is top tier. How do you continue to keep the consistency in keeping that reputation?
I think it's just making sure you're doing the right thing by people. I think this is there are a lot of trainers in the state of North Carolina. There's a lot of trainers in Charlotte, and it's very easy to get caught up in things that don't matter.
Right.
And one of the things that's most important to me is I don't put myself in those situations. I keep the main thing. And, people wonder why, I don't do things with other trainers and stuff like that. And it's not that I think I'm better than anybody.
Right.
It's just I like doing things the way that I like doing them. I have friends that are in this business that train, but, even them, like, my best friend is a trainer here in Charlotte. I've done stuff with other people, and we've never done anything together. I think we've talked about it a couple times, and it's just never come to light. It's never come to fruition. But that's my guy, and so like,
understandable.
We don't. He's never been mad at me because of what I'm doing, but I think we both understand, like, if we just stay out of the way and keep our heads down and just keep working, like we'll be okay. You know, I think I tell kids all the time, like, you know, sometimes people try to do things to take your focus away. And when that happens, you can't focus on what you're doing, and they win. So I just try to make sure I never let that happen.
I get that. Okay. So my next question, in terms of developing players and everything in that nature, you've obviously worked with a lot of pro players as well. So when working with the pro players and coming back to that in full circle, how has working with the pro players actually helped you in terms of training? Would you say the pro players have helped you learn more, or would you say working with younger kids have helped you more?
I think working with the pros is a huge benefit because you know, there are things that I do with the pros that maybe I dumb down or water down a little bit and try to implement with college kids, with the high school kids, you know, and just to see where we're at. And you know, you got to think, like, the pros that I have now, those kids that are in college and high school now, they were around when they were younger. So they've seen, just like I've seen the development, they've seen the development.
Right.
And so you get these pros that are in the gym, and then you got a college kid or a high school kid coming behind them. It's like, okay, I just saw half of their workout. I want my workout. I want to do like the same work.
I want,
and so now it's like, oh, the workout, you put me through the same workout that you put him through. Like, now make it, you know, it becomes very beneficial, and the buy-in becomes even more, because it's like, oh, I just did what he did. And then you have, you know, when the college kids are home, like, there'll be times when the college kids, like, yeah, you gotta go work out with the pros. We play pickup, like, yeah, sometimes the pros are gonna jump in, and we don't, you know, they know we don't make excuses. You know, they're at the point now where it's like, it's trying to chase where they're at. And I think a great example of that was Donovan Atwell at Texas Tech. He was in the gym this summer, and Trey Wirtz, who played at Notre Dame and now plays in France, was in the gym. And Donovan let it be known early, like, yeah, today's going to be one of those days.
That's actually insane.
And so Trey was like, oh, okay. And so, like, they're going back and forth, but there's a respect there. There's a development there. And then you have guys like Donovan Gregory, who played at App State. And, you know, he wants, you know, Kamani Wirtz, who's playing at Concord College, to get better. So Kamani gets the ball, and he goes and picks him up 94 feet. Now you got to handle the basketball. Now you got to handle this pressure. With a guy guarding you that's one of the best defenders, you know, around the area. So just stuff like that, just helping each other get better. And, like, we compete hard, but when the game's over, like, they sit around longer. And I'm like, yo, we got to get out. We got to get out of the gym. Like, can't be here. So I think, you know, that's the important part for me. Like, everyone talks about, you know, working with pros, and I get it. Like, I would love to do it. But the most important part to me is, like, I have homegrown pros. So kids that I've had from 10, 11, 12, and they made it professionally to play this game of basketball. Like, that's what I take pride in, more so than trying to get guys that are already established or already do this.
That's actually insane you mentioned Donovan, because that is my cousin. So, Donovan, you're next. You are next.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, next question. Everybody has a role model. Is there a specific kind of role model, coach, trainer that you kind of idol yourself after in terms of watching them?
I think there's a lot of guys that I look at, especially in this field. Chris Brinkley, DJ Sackman, Phil Handy, Sean Marshall, The Provision, whole crew over there. I feel like I'm one of those, I want to keep learning. And in order to do that, like, I have to pay attention. So I watch those guys, see what they do, put my own spin on some things, but I like to keep everything we do fresh. I think it's super important. I want kids to come into the gym, be excited to come in the gym, because if we did the same thing over and over and over again, I would get bored as a trainer, and the kids would get bored. So I try to keep it fresh, and just you know, there's obviously some drills that you always do, but, you know, for the most part, we try to mix it up and work on different things, you know, on a daily basis.
So to wrap things up, I got one last question for you. So are there any players, or, like I said, it could be plural, it doesn't have to be just one, but any players that you're looking forward to seeing?
Yes, and I'll do it based on a couple different things.
Okay, let's hear it.
So we got Trey Horton at the
Okay.
University of Texas, El Paso. I'm excited to watch him play because I feel like the first 2 years he hasn't really shown people the player that he can be.
Right.
And I'm really hoping that this is his third year and he kind of makes that leap and really shows everybody like how good he actually is, especially when it comes to shooting the basketball. Eric Harding is a kid at Marshall who, put a lot of weight on. And I always told people he was going to be a late bloomer and he's going to be, I think, I'm excited to see his development. So those two for sure. Trey Wirtz, I'm excited to continue to watch him. They started playing in France already. I think it's a really good situation for him, and I really just want him to take the ball and run with it. I think he's got a chance to do something really special if he just scores the basketball at the rate that he knows how to score the basketball at. So those are the big three who I'm looking forward to. But then Austin Schwartz, just because he transferred to Creighton and he's playing in the Big East. So the list. I could continue. I could continue. Sir Muhammad at Notre Dame. Like I want him to stay healthy and show people just how talented he is. So I think especially the college kids. I think Ned Hall at Elon is a kid that I had, and he's younger, and he's really had to fight and claw his way to a Division I basketball scholarship. So I'm really rooting for him, and I really want him to have a good, successful season. So, you want everybody to do good, but for different reasons, you're watching other people. Jasim Felton is at Seton Hall and probably didn't play as much as he wanted to last year, and he really worked hard. And in the era of the transfer portal where things didn't go my way, so I'm going to take my ball and go home. He could have left and went somewhere else, but he decided to stick it out. So, when you get kids like that want to battle through adversity, and, you're always rooting for them. So those are a few of the players that I'm excited to see this year.
Okay. Thank you for coming out and talking to me, and I hope y'all tune in next time. Y'all heard it here first. Plays with Pay, where hustle turns into highlights.